Here's more wrestling news for September 5th, 2021. And your headlines for today include: WWE reveals new NXT is coming on September 14th. Tony Khan clarifies AEW Dark plans moving forward. CM Punk does something extraordinary with AEW stars after Rampage went off the air. Sasha Banks was backstage at WWE SmackDown this week. Drew McIntyre match and more added to WWE Raw. WWE signs Gable Steveson to contract, hints at working with Paul Heyman. AEW wrestler holds fans responsible for canceled storyline. Former WWE wrestler hints at making NXT debut soon, and more. We're starting today with NXT, which is set to return to live programming soon, with a big change coming to the show. On Twitter, the official NXT account dropped a new video featuring Wale's theme song for the show and promoted that a new NXT is arriving on September 14th. The video includes the new logo and gave fans a glimpse of the new stage design for the show, which will be produced by Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard going forward. Fans will have to wait until the 14th to see the new NXT for real, and after so much backlash to the new show already, we'll have to see if WWE can turn fans around later this month. Over to AEW, and last week it was reported that AEW is changing how they film Dark, as the plan is to film on a soundstage at Universal Studios instead of at tapings for Rampage or Dynamite. This news was practically confirmed by Tony Khan during an all-out conference call, in which he compared it to WCW's old Worldwide show, and in an interview with Bleacher Report, he explained just how Dark will operate going forward. "I'm not going to tape AEW Dark every week going forward. We're filming Dynamite, Rampage, and Elevation in the arena, so now I think it's a great time to focus on Dark for developmental. I will be putting together some studio show cards. I've got one venue that I have a hold on, and then sometimes we will still film in arenas." Khan also confirmed that stars will make appearances to work with the young talent, and named Will Hobbs, Red Velvet, and the Varsity Blondes as just some of the big names from Dark. The AEW president also praised Daniel Garcia, another Dark discovery, saying how he believes the 22-year-old will stick with AEW, so we'll probably see more of him and others on the new version of AEW Dark. On this week's Rampage, CM Punk was on hand to provide some commentary, but the former WWE champion did much more after the show went off the air. After cameras stopped rolling, Punk was seen on the mic humming Jungle Boy's theme song with the audience and told the crowd how he loves to sing along to themes and that he's been tasked with sending them home happy. Punk then thanked the crowd for being into the show, saying he's super grateful and humbled to be in AEW, and thanked each member of the Jurassic Express, saying he'll one day fight Jungle Boy. Punk ended his post-Rampage performance with a rendition of the Golden Girls theme song, "Thank You for Being a Friend," as the former WWE champion certainly succeeded in sending the crowd home happy mere days before his match with Darby Allin. Punk has done a lot of appearances since joining AEW just a couple of weeks ago, and recently appeared on Renee Paquette's Oral Sessions podcast. During the show, Punk was quizzed on his thoughts of AEW using win-loss records, and the former WWE champion admitted he's on the fence on the idea. Punk compared the stats to Goldberg's infamous WCW streak, where he'd be 10-0 one week and 25-0 the next, arguing that tracking stats never seems to go well in wrestling. So far, Punk is 0-0 in AEW, but that record will change tonight, as fans are ready for the former superstar's return to in-ring competition over 7 years since his WWE walkout. Back to WWE, and one person fans haven't seen much of lately is Sasha Banks, who hasn't competed on TV since the July 30th SmackDown. Before SummerSlam, Banks was pulled from all live events due to unforeseen circumstances, but the boss is apparently doing much better. Fightful Select reported that Banks was backstage at SmackDown this week, but obviously didn't appear, and as of today, there's no creative plans in the works for the former women's champion. Banks didn't appear on this week's show, but the fact that she was there at all is a great sign, and we'll have to see if WWE's hopes of the boss being on next week's Super SmackDown from Madison Square Garden comes true. Over to Raw next, as more matches have been announced for tomorrow night's show. In non-title action, Akira Tozawa will face 24/7 champion Reggie, whilst WWE Women's Tag Team Champions Natalya and Tamina will face Rhea Ripley and Nikki ASH. Drew McIntyre will face Sheamus in singles action, but the winner will earn a United States Championship match against Damian Priest at Extreme Rules. The US title is one of the few championships McIntyre has yet to hold in WWE, but he'll have to get through Sheamus first if he plans on facing the Archer of Infamy on September 26th. Olympics news now, as Gable Steveson was on WWE's radar long before he won gold at the Tokyo Summer Games, but they weren't the only place interested in the Olympian. It had been reported that UFC, Bellator, and the NFL were possible destinations for Steveson, but we can now confirm that the Olympian is bringing his talents exclusively to Vince McMahon. Dave Meltzer reports that Steveson has signed a contract with WWE, but it's unknown when he'll start, given that he's been recently working with the University of Minnesota wrestling team, where he's won 2 Big Ten Conference titles and was a 2-time All-American. Steveson appeared at SummerSlam last month and got a huge reaction from the crowd, and when speaking to Jim Varsalone, he was asked about the proposed alignment with Paul Heyman. He said, "It could happen, sooner or later, it may happen, but we'll let Brock and Roman take care of business, and then we'll see what happens." The idea of Heyman and Steveson certainly seems more likely now that he's part of WWE, and at just 21 years old, the second ever Olympic gold medalist in WWE has got his whole future ahead of him. Last year, QT Marshall and the Bunny teased a storyline romance that was abruptly dropped from TV. No explanation's been given by AEW as to why the angle was dropped, but in an interview with Sportskeeda, Marshall claimed it was the fans who were responsible, comparing the angle to an ongoing story in NXT. He said, "So that was the fans' fault. That was their fault. The same fans that love Dexter Lumis, who's married in real life, has a fiancé on NXT, are the same fans that because it was me, they didn't like the storyline. Oh, this insults our intelligence. Okay, but me bouncing off the ropes doesn't insult your intelligence. Come on." Marshall did suggest that a positive test last year may have been a factor in AEW's decision, but insisted that the fans are the ones who are primarily to blame. Tonight's All Out event will see Marshall take on Paul White in the former Big Show's debut match for the company, and win or lose, don't expect the Bunny to rekindle her romance with the AEW star. For the past few months, Bronson Rechsteiner, the son of Rick Steiner and nephew of Scott, has been working hard at WWE's Performance Center and has even had an NXT appearance, being the security guard choked out by Samoa Joe last month. Now, Bronson has teased that he'll be appearing in NXT as a wrestler soon enough, as on Instagram, he shared a pic in his ring gear and used the hashtag WWE NXT. Carmelo Hayes, who won the 2021 NXT Breakout Tournament, even commented, "On the way, as it seems Rechsteiner will be debuting on TV as a superstar sooner rather than later." And we're ending with legendary TNA announcer Don West, who announced in June this year that he was battling cancer, but that issue is now thankfully behind him. Last night, West took to Twitter to reveal that after 13 bouts of chemotherapy, his cancer is now in remission, and thanked everyone for their kind words and encouragement during this battle. This is great news for Don, who works as a radio show host for News Radio 560 KPQ in Washington, and hopefully can get back on the air very soon after beating cancer. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.